Shalom. Starting off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And Shalom to elect out there. To the title of this lesson will be Hurricane Beryl. And this goes out to your Negroes, your Latinos, and you Native Americans, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. Once again, today's title of this lesson will be Hurricane Beryl. So I have a quick NBC News article, and it reads, at least 3 people killed after Beryl makes landfall on Texas coast. Let's read on down. It says nearly 2 million people were without power in the Houston area, Texas officials have said. So let's read on down for a little bit more information. It says Hurricane Beryl made landfall on the Gulf Coast of Texas earlier today, the National Hurricane Center said. Beryl hit near the coastal town of Matagorda, Texas, about 85 miles southwest of Houston, packing maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. At least 3 people were unalive in the Houston area. The storm has unalive people in Venezuela, Jamaica, Grenada, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines in the last week. Nearly 2 million customers are without power. Beryl weakened to a tropical storm after it caused havoc in the Caribbean and Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, but it strengthened yesterday with the hot water of the Gulf of Mexico. So let's read them down for a little bit more. Let's get this little part. It says the tropical depression was 70 miles northeast of Tyler, Texas, and moving northeast of 17 miles per hour late tonight. Despite breaking up and losing force, the front was still threatening to flood areas of eastern Texas, western Louisiana, and Arkansas overnight, the Hurricane Center said. It says several tornadoes were also possible on those areas. It said the National Weather Service defines a remnant low as post-tropical cyclone that no longer possesses the convective organization required of a tropical cyclone and has maximum sustained winds of less than 39 miles per hour. What was left of Beryl was producing sustained winds tonight of about 35 miles per hour, forecasters said. And it says right here, we're just going to read this little pause. It says, utility hopes to have 1 million Houston area customers back online by Wednesday. So we're seeing all this devastation, all this destructive damage this Hurricane Beryl is doing to the people of Texas, and also this devastation and damage it has done in Jamaica. And I also have a few pictures to bring this out. But we're seeing the strength of these hurricanes. We're seeing the disastrous things this the storm has caused, calamities, people are losing things left and right, people being displaced. And it's also said that 3 people are unalive. So people losing their lives in these storms, losing their houses, losing their loved ones, losing all their cars and resources. And we're constantly telling you people left and right, you so-called Negroes, you Latinos, and you Native Americans, seek the Lord while he's near, while he may be found, because the Lord is doing all these things. Even though we do know that Esau has the so-called heart machine, who gave him that? The Lord gave him that. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, he gave him that to use on the left-hand side. Should there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it. So we know that the Lord does all these things. He is in perfect control. So let's take a look at a few pictures of these disasters that will happen in Jamaica. People were displaced, all the restaurants, businesses, things of that nature were destroyed, and they're left in ruin. You see disaster, calamity upon calamity, tragedy, man. This is something terrible. We constantly warn our people, man. This is the work of the Lord. The Lord is doing all these things, and we will constantly see these things left and right. The hurricane season is going to pick up, all these storms, tornadoes, all these earthquakes and divers in their place, all these devastation, disasters. The Lord is doing all of these things, you see. So let's take a look at these few pictures, man. These people were destroyed. These things will constantly pick up. That's why we constantly have to be what? Fearing the Lord. Constantly praying to the Lord. You see, so these people, man, they will hit bad. And also Texas, they will hit bad also. So I have a quick few videos to bring this lesson out, and then we'll just dive into a quick few precepts. Bear with me for a little second. All right, here we go.
The eye wall of Hurricane Beryl coming through downtown Houston, Texas, as we are dealing with many watches, many warnings. A tornado watch extending throughout the course of the morning, also a flash flood warning going through the course of the morning, and multiple river flood warnings. Remember, all the water here trying to flow out to Galveston Bay. If it has that onshore flow from the storm, it's stopping that flow from going into Galveston Bay, which means we can have river flooding. So many issues presenting. We've got wind, we've got rain. The rain coming down at extraordinary rates, not to mention power outages being a major problem for truly millions of people. More than 1 million power customers without power. Remember, a customer is one address. One address could have 5 or more people in it, so you have to multiply that out by potentially millions of people. The rain rates have been extraordinary. We're talking what is easily multiple inches per hour falling, have been for quite some time. So we've got intense amounts of rain, intense wind, hurricane force gusts down at Houston Hobby Airport tracked at 86 miles per hour, the highest so far, just highlighting how dangerous it is for folks to be outside. Flights are an issue. More than 1,100 cancellations between the two Houston airports. Also mass transit, the metro system, trains and buses shut down until further notice here in Houston. Certainly, this day is getting off to a very dangerous start for millions. In Houston, Texas, Justin Michaels, the Weather Channel.
You can see it blowing by me, and right behind me is the Galveston seawall. So we're getting a mixture of sand and rain here. If you're wondering what it's like to stand in a sandblaster, here it is. When the storm was coming ashore, we had peak wind gusts here of 71 miles an hour. But I want to show you some video from a little bit farther south where Beryl made landfall. This was in Sargent, Texas. As I mentioned, just south of us, they had peak wind gusts of 80 to 90 miles per hour. And of course, with that wind is torrential downpour, up to 6 inches in some areas along the central Texas coast. The big thing to keep an eye out, the storm surge warnings that are in effect this morning. 4 to 6 to 7 feet of storm surge in some area. Now, this storm intensified and became a hurricane overnight. That had the lieutenant governor warning people to be prepared. And of course, for folks here along the Texas Gulf Coast, this is not their first rodeo, not their first hurricane. So we saw people gassing up and getting groceries. And the good news, this is usually packed with people coming to the beach, but there's nobody out there right now, and that is good news. There's listening to the warnings, because this is going to continue for several hours. We want to watch the storm surge to make sure it does not become deadly, but it's something we're going to keep an eye on.
So we're seeing what Hurricane Beryl was doing, man. It's bringing a lot of devastation and a lot of destruction. And we're seeing that it says right here, I want to go back to the article real quick. It says 3 people unalive, and it says nearly 2 million people without power. So we're seeing what the Lord is doing. He's putting a lot of great miseries upon people. You know, people are suffering left and right. You know, judgment is constantly going out. And we already know this through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. He's to be feared. He's doing all these things. So let's start off in today's quick lesson in the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 6. And it reads, "Thou should be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire." And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a constant increase in hurricanes, flooding, tornadoes, earthquakes in diverse many places, forest fires. All of these things are causing destruction and devastation, calamities upon calamity, disaster. But we do know that the Lord is constantly visiting this place. He's constantly doing these things left and right. All these natural disasters, catastrophic storms we were seeing. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. He's doing all of these things right now. Let's read this again. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 6. And it reads, "Thou should be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire." Let's keep on moving. Just a very quick lesson. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 15. And it reads, "So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm." Let's read it again one more time. It says, "So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot of people in fear. A lot of people are scared to death. These storms are coming through and wiping people out, wiping their houses out, wiping their cars are, losing things left and right. Everything people care about, the Lord is constantly wiping away. The Lord is constantly putting judgment upon people. That's what we're kind of telling you people, man. Hey, so our people, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and you Native Americans out there, you constantly have to be fearing the Lord, because Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, he's doing all these things, not Jehovah, not Yahweh, not Yeshua, not all these other names that you people call upon. It's Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. He's doing all these things. We've seen in these interviews also that people are scared, they're in fear. They're losing everything. They don't know what's going on, but we are in the time of these things. Destruction and judgment is constantly going out right now. We see these things left and right. We also know things will get worse and worse. We'll keep seeing these storms. We'll keep seeing these catastrophic disasters. Calamities upon calamities. Judgment is but to fall heavy upon people. Let's read this again. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 15. And it reads, so persecute them with thy tempest and make them afraid with thy storm. Let's keep on moving. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 16, and it reads, the Lord is known by the judgment with which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. And that's what we constantly see right now. We're seeing judgment fall upon wicked people. The Lord is constantly putting a lot of great miseries upon people. Judgment, calamities, disaster, tragedies that we're seeing right now. That's what we have to constantly have to be fearing the Lord. We have to be seeking the Lord, because we already know the Lord is in perfect control and he's doing all these things. We also know that we are in a time of judgment. Heavy judgment is but to get put forth. All these things we're seeing, these things are going to increase and these things are going to escalate. Day by day, things are going to get worse and worse. Let's read this again. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 16. And it reads, the Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Let's keep on moving. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7. And it reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Let's read this again one more time. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7. And it reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. And we do know that Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, he's doing all these things, all these storms, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, all these natural catastrophic disasters, all these different tragedies and calamities come upon the people. The Lord's doing all of these things. The Lord brings the good times and he brings the bad times. And we constantly seeing a lot of bad times. We already know things are getting worse and worse. We're seeing a lot of things happening around the world. All these global events. World War III is constantly brewing up over in America. There's a lot of threats of civil war, civil unrest, sedition among men is but the rise. Violence in the streets, it's heavy violence. Murder activity is at an all-time high. Gun violence, criminal activity. All of these things you're seeing the Lord is doing. We already know these things are going to increase. And we're also knowing that we are all getting closer and closer to the time of Jacob trouble, a time never seen before. So these things will constantly increase, but we do know that the Lord is doing all of these things. He brings the good times and he brings the bad times. So let's read this again one more time. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7, and it reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So I hope this lesson was edifying. Until next time, I say, Shalom.